just from having my morning mass. And before I go back home, there is something that has always kept on my mind for a couple of weeks. I feel I need to share something in regard to that today. So we often give, like inclusive, giving to others or explaining, teaching to other people things that we haven't personally experienced, like about different aspects of life. Like, you want to teach about this, you know, the theory, you've read about it, but when somehow in your real life experience you haven't really touched, like had the real testimony of what you're talking about, but you believe, like somehow your instincts believe, yeah, this is what it is. Maybe you've read about testimonies about it. And while I went for prayers, today, though it has also been on my mind for some time, I thought about having something to do with having a great prayer life. It is something that has not just started in my mind. It became so vivid back in the day, about a decade ago, when I was still at campus. So I joined ministry, praise and worship, and there is that urge to do ministry in a manner that is anointed. Like, you don't do something plain, but there is something I would think about in regard to how is this going to be, like for me not to be plain about what I give to God's people when I'm up, when I'm in front ministering to them. This same thing took me to my time of the fact to believe, to think about my baptism. Yes, Feli is baptized, accepted, known as a believer, taught prayers when she was still a child. She goes to church, goes for mass, says morning prayers. But then I felt there is something more that I needed to do to be more effective. Yeah. And this was to do with like living in the real power, like being the real Christian. Yeah, in that aspect, like touching exactly that which I want to give to the people of God. Yeah, and the basic thing I thought about was in line with having a great prayer life. Yeah, I've read about it. Even then I had read about it. I love reading. I'd watched sermons, people's teachings, but there is something that I felt was still a gap in me that I needed to first touch, so that I can also give it out to the others in my time of maybe ministry, even doing other personal things, maybe like right now doing business, that I stand to tell people this is this, I have actually touched a bit of it. Yeah, so this morning, just from having morning mass, I thought about sharing this, something to do with having a great prayer life. The very first book I read when this year started, in the early days of January, was this book. It's called Embracing Revival. Yeah, someone could have read it also. It's by Apostle Moses Mukisa. There's a way how he brings out things that for me I thought were just in my mind in a manner that is very practical. What he shares, I've read a large bit of it, I've practiced, but my mind had never practically thought that actually these things can be put together in a way that is very well organized to actually help someone else out there. So when I read like different things, different aspects of the book, different chapters, I felt I think I can also relate to what he is talking about, and I have equally practically experienced that fruitfulness of what he is talking about. So in addition to the baptism that I got probably that you also got the Christian life that we live. I believe it is good. It comes up with a lot of spiritual growth, fruitfulness, when one has a great prayer life. The other thing I want to talk about is the fact that it is also a common desire that we love to do things in authority. I'm not only talking about ministry, I'm talking about the kind of work we do, like our businesses, our jobs, and come in a given level of authority, maybe being grounded, and all those kinds of things that put some people somewhere in a certain level, in the air maybe, or at a certain platform. We desire to be there. I desire to be there in some of the things, not very many things in those particular things, especially in line with my calling. But then, do we also look at what they do in private? And if we are to bring it to the life of Jesus, us wanting to do things in authority, in the power that he did, in the effectiveness, to the fact that even up to date, what he started is just growing day by day. Do we also embrace the discipline that he was a part of, that was part of his life in private? When I think about it, somehow it makes me want to think deeper. Yeah, so I feel I need to share a few things, like 2 things divided into 2. And the first bit, I wrote down a few things in my book. It's going to be about a few examples of how Jesus's prayer life was. If we can relate that to the kind of power, authority, effectiveness, impact that his ministry left, to the fact that even up to date, something is still growing and growing. Yeah, first we see that he spent 40 days and nights praying. So the question that was posed by the writer of this book, Embracing Revival, but the same question comes to me, is that when was the last time I took a prayer retreat, and how long was it? If we look at Luke 4, verse 1 to 2. The second thing for me to think about, maybe someone else there to also think about, is Jesus often withdrew into the wilderness to pray. The thing we are looking at is the authority in which he did his work, the effectiveness of his ministry. So I, as Feli, how frequently do I step away from people and distractions to spend time in prayer? Relating the same to Luke 5, verse 16. Jesus rose a long while before daylight and went to a solitary place to pray. So how early or late do I arise or stay to pray? Do I even have a solitary place when I choose to go and have prayers, speak to my God? Mark 1, verse 35. Number 4, Jesus went out to the mountain to pray and spent the whole night in prayer. I'm thinking about overnights. How often do I spend time, not even overnights going with other people, like to have a long night, but personal fellowship throughout the night with God in prayer, passionate prayer? He was shocked that his disciples could not hold up for 1 hour in prayer. Fellow ministers, do I pray and hold on for at least an hour? Remember that time when he was almost starting his agony, how he would come back to check on the disciples and he finds them sleeping. So after rebuking them for not praying an hour, he went back twice. So if we want to assume that probably if he would go back for an hour, then he comes, checks on them, because they tell us he went back twice. When you add those, the first hour when he came to check on them, the second time, and then the other one, it gives us 3 hours he was there, like the lead in the ministry, as ministry leaders, or maybe business leaders. Of course, even if it's business, it is also ministry. It is work of God. It's a calling. Me, that's how I look at business. Do I stay extra time searching for God, praying, watching, interceding for this work of God that I am doing? The other one, the 7th and actually the last, is he prayed with vehement cries and tears to him who was able to save him, his heavenly Father. So, how undignified, loud, in spoken word, passionate, emotional, and teary are my prayer sessions. One thing I've learned about praying in word, in addition to the prayers that we already have, like I would say like the Our Father prayer, glory be to the Father. When I personally choose to speak in word passionately when I'm praying to God, there is a difference I feel from deep within. After that session of prayer, I really feel I have talked to God and I'm at peace, I'm at rest. So how passionately do I do this undignified? Do I mind that maybe we are in fellowship, those guys are going to see me concentrating a lot, acting as if I am too much? Personally, I've learned not to care what people think, those who are in my proximity. As long as I am praying, as long as I'm not disturbing anyone's peace, for me, I'll express my passion, I'll speak in word, and I will take all the time I want to take, as long as it is well with my spirit and I'm not disturbing anyone's peace, especially those in my proximity. So we can read about this and get to know a few details when we go to Hebrews 5.